happy music. Use the phone.
It has been a week, and we are back. Your pals, Tommy and Val. And I only say my name first, everybody, because it rhymes better that way. But it is Valerie and Tommy D. Oh, that rhymes too, right here on the Professionals and Animal Lovers Show. We do a couple things on this show. We learn, we educate, and we advocate. But really, let me give you the mission behind what we're all about. We are constantly amplifying the message that the bond between animal lovers is incredibly strong. In fact, it mirrors that bond between pets and their owners. And I will tell you this, as a new proud adopted pet owner of my guy Cheeto, check out his Instagram, by the way. My guy Cheeto is on the Instagram. That's his Instagram. But as a new pet parent, if you will, I know you will, Val, but if you will call me a pet parent, you know, I just know that the connection we have amongst people is incredibly special. So look, we want to support each other in business, in philanthropy, in connecting so that everyone wins.
Especially the animals.
And how do we achieve that? We're achieving that through what started out as, hey, man, we should do a show together, to now it's really become a big journey with events, lunches, the annual Compassion Awards. And look, we're learning, we're educating, and we're advocating. And that's what we do here on the show. We bring to you people who are educators in the space of animal advocacy. We bring to you business professionals who are animal lovers and want to support animals and animal advocacy. Man, oh man, what's better than that? Valerie, what say you? What's going on, kid? How are you?
I'm great. I had an amazing weekend advocating for a specific animal. Actually, I know our guest shared that. I'm going to mention her really quickly because that is what we do. I want to say this. I normally don't highlight one particular pet who's up for adoption, just because we would be inundated every single day with hundreds, if not thousands, of requests to do this. I'm making an exception because this dog is truly an exception. And a lot of you probably remember her story. It went viral. It was on News 12 like several times. This dog was abused, dropped off in the middle of the night at Bobby and the Strays in Freeport. Her name is Athena. And she was emaciated. She was like, her ribs were showing. She had open wounds all over her body, and clearly, you know, abused and neglected. So fast forward from July of last year, she has been up for adoption since December. I cannot believe that she's not adopted yet. So I just want to encourage everyone to either share her story, or if you're inclined to give this beautiful dog the loving home that she finally deserves, please contact Bobby and the Strays of Freeport. And if you're not able to do that, you can also foster. But if you want to donate, and this is really important, please donate directly to the rescue, because they're the ones who have shelled out tens of thousands of dollars for her medical bills, her food, recovery, everything. All right. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you. I mean, listen, that's what we do here. We're trying to let you know, man, we're saving lives. I mean, you know, I tell you, this guy Cheeto that's downstairs, I hear him chirping. He's not a bird, but he chirps a lot because he's a tiny little. I hear him chirping. He's like, "Oh, Tommy D, can you come down here?" And I'm like, "Dude, I worked from the lower levels of my home earlier today just to spend some time with him because I'm the only one here." But I will tell you, he certainly changed the dynamic of our family. So if you are so inclined, as Valerie says, to bring somebody new into your home, well, listen, we say hashtag adopt, don't shop. Just leave it out there. Mic drop. Although my mic's on my desk, drop it. You know,
and she's a beautiful dog. I will say she doesn't even look like the dog that she was. She's just gorgeous. And anyway, almost as gorgeous as my good friend Danny, who I can't wait because he's on the show today.
Well,
How amazing.
before we even do that, I must do two things. I must say a couple things. First of all, Danny, we will be with you in a second. You are both of our. We'll be right back with that. But check us out on Facebook, P.A.L.show.usa, or just type in Professionals and Animal Lovers Show on the Facebook. On Instagram, P.A.L.show, SHOW. And also, if you haven't heard my guy Cheeto on Instagram, if you want to check out Cheeto's Instagram, please do. And on LinkedIn, your Professionals and Animal Lovers are also on LinkedIn, and you just type in Professionals and Animal Lovers Show on LinkedIn. If I said it right, LinkedIn, that one. Look, follow us, connect with us, and the website's pal-show.com, a hyphen, the one on the middle, not on the bottom. Pal-show, pal-show. We love to joke around about that. All right, look, let's get into the show. Why don't you, Valerie, set up an introduction for our guest, who I will tell you I've become very close friends with, and I love this woman. I think she's an absolute juggernaut in the world of nonprofit, in the world of real estate. I love watching what you're doing out there, DT. I call it DT, Dannie Taylor. But I love watching what you're doing. But I know before I met you, in fact, I wouldn't know you if it wasn't for Valerie Heffron. So Val, why don't you set it up? Because I think you guys know each other a couple years.
Just a couple. Just a couple. It's like almost qualifying for Abe Lincoln's famous four score. So it's at least one score. I don't even know exactly. I'm afraid to count exactly how long ago we met. We met in high school. So we're like roughly 30 years ago.
You don't have to do it. You don't have to age yourself. It's not required. It's not required to do it.
So here's the deal. Very rarely have I met someone in my walk of life that is kind of just like great at everything. And this is what I tell people, because this is just the truth. Like, Danny was a great athlete, killer at like soccer. Like, you didn't want to play against her. Basketball, Rockettes, like kick line, unbelievable high kick, great friend, just phenomenal work ethic. I remember when she was waitressing over at Jericho Terrace, she was like the napkin folder queen. Like, she doesn't stop, right? She's like the Energizer bunny. She just keeps going. She's amazing, very dedicated at everything. So of course, no one is surprised that she's a phenomenal wife to a very loving, amazing husband. She is an incredible mother of two. She's a dog mom. And then she decided, I'm going to start some charity give back stuff. And she blew that up. She started, I'll let her tell the story, but from 3 people to like 200 people, hundreds of thousands of dollars. She's a hometown hero from News 12. And she decided to begin a real estate career now that everybody's a little bit older. So long story short, as soon as I heard this, I was blown away. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to kill it. You're going to be amazing, because you're amazing at everything you do. And I'm right. I know it, but I've already this has been proven already. So let me just say this. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce to the world, if you don't already know her, my good friend, Dannie Taylor. Woo!
Thank you. Thank you to both of you. Thank you.
I don't ever clap on the show. I felt like we were in an audience somewhere, Valerie. Good.
Thank you, guys. I love you both dearly. Thank you. That was very kind, Val.
My pleasure. And it's all true. And I'm sure I'm leaving out 5 million things, but like the point is that, I believe in that quote, the way you do anything is the way you do everything.
Mm-hmm.
So Danny is now with Signature Premier Properties for roughly 1 year. And what I want you to talk about, Danny, is I love your backstory about how you were inspired with your conversations with Steve, your husband, how you started your foundation, and how that's now applied into real estate. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, thank you both for having me. I really, really appreciate it. I really do. I'm humbled, so I appreciate this. When the boys were little, Steve and I do not have family here, and we were both traveling for work a lot, and just decided that one of us should be home with the boys, and it was going to be me. So he made me promise him that if I did this, that I would do one thing for me, And I was like, okay, great. And he's like, you'll never look back on raising the boys. He said, but I just want you to do one thing for yourself. And I'm like, okay. And, I just kind of was thinking about it. And he totally inspired me. He did a race in Brooklyn, um, a civilian military combine race. And I thought, I want to do that. And then it was when I was turning 40. So I thought, can I do that? And then I thought, if I do it, maybe I should raise funds for a charity, a local charity. And here I had these two little boys who I loved and adored. Of course, you need a lot of patience when you have two boys that are 11 months apart. But then I saw an article about another mom who had lost twins. I think that her boys were like 2 years old. And it just inspired me to try to give back in whatever small way I can. So yeah, you're right. I mean, there was three of us that started. It's myself, Stephanie Dean, and Janine Del Pozo. We did a race. That year we ended up raising a little over $3,000. And now there's 200 of us 10 years later. And we raise funds for medically fragile, terminally ill, and special needs children. And we have some charity partners that we focus on, and we also raise money for families directly. So we love it. We normally do it by racing. So we do obstacle course races, marathons, 4x4s. We do whatever we can to raise funds. Right now we have 3 cases that we're raising funds for. And so that's how that happened. And then probably about, well, it was a year ago when I passed the real estate exam. But prior to that, I was thinking, the boys are getting older. I still want YOLO to be thriving. How can I do something different? Because I was in risk management software and financial services, still be around. And I'm just obsessed with real estate. And I was like, well, just because I'm obsessed with it doesn't mean I can do it. I took the course totally under the radar. No one knew except for Steve. And I thought, let me see if I can build a team. So the girls that are on the YOLO Strong Foundation are part of it, some of them are taking the course right now, and we're building a team. So we're donating a portion of our proceeds to the foundation.
That is so smart. I mean, you're combining two things that you love. And actually, I guess that's how it started. You love running, and let me know, by the way, when you have like a poker tournament fundraiser or something that I can partake in, because running is not my thing. But you're combining things that you love, which is what we're doing here, and you're finding ways to give back. And I love that so much. So I'm hoping you grow your team to 200 real estate agents and every transaction. What does every transaction do, Dan?
So it depends. It really depends. So if one of our charity partners is in need of a specific project to be completed, what we'll do is we'll focus on that project. Right now, we're focusing on families directly. So there's a family in need whose daughter has a disease, and they need to get the child back and forth for therapy. And the cost of doing that is exponentially high. So we're funding that right now. But we have all different types of families that we assist, all different types of needs. And also we do help specific charity partners. So we help the Morgan Center. It provides preschool for children who are undergoing chemotherapy treatments.
Wow.
We recently have assisted horseability.
And I was waiting for my opportunity. I'm trying to work the Facebook and share the organization Facebook page as well. But I was waiting for you to give me an opening there where I could talk for horseability. So as many of you know, your boy, the nonprofit sector connector, is a board member of horseability. In fact, I just got off a meeting with Katie McGowan, my friend, who is the founder and executive director, who is really one of my buddies when it comes down to this nonprofit work. If you haven't been to horseability, hit up your buddy and I will get you out there to the farm and you come with me, because I promise you, I feel I personally, my blood pressure goes down. In fact, I wasn't feeling so great in the head yesterday. I should have probably shot over to horseability and got some good juju from the horses out there, because they definitely feel better. Hadn't thought of it at 9 o'clock last night. I don't know that I might have got arrested if I just showed up on the phone. So anyway, that's a whole nother thing. But there's a, you know, Danny, I had the opportunity to, Katie McGowan and I to come to your event a few months, like it must be 6 or 8 months ago at this point. I guess time flies. Really, really cool, very, very colorful event. I think a lot of sequins and things like that. It was like diamonds and jewels and stuff like that. But you know, nothing really made me more happy than to see you at the farm. Unfortunately, I was somewhere else that day, but giving one of those big old checks to Katie and the team at Horse Ability. So thank you for that right here publicly.
Of course,
Appreciate
of course. It's an
Fantastic.
amazing organization, and I have no doubt that we will continue to do it as we are aware of projects that come up. And you know, it's important that we support them because of all of the amazing things that they do for the children that utilize their services. It's just it really is an unbelievable organization. So I'm glad we could do it.
So Danny, I want to also, so obviously horses are animals. I want to kind of continue on that thread. And you came up with something really interesting that I saw on your email. You came up with a term for, in real estate, you're talking about other people's pets, right?
Yeah. OPP.
You know what OPP.
Yeah, you know me.
That's it.
Very, very memorable. Now, I
Yeah.
love this so much because I talk to people about this stuff all the time. I'm always trying to encourage people to seek out other animal lovers in all walks of life. Quick shout out to my hair salon, Hollywood Vampires, because I just scheduled a haircut with them. And long story short, they do a lot for rescue and TNR, local
Really?
cat rescue and all of that. Yeah, that's literally how I chose my
Where are they, Val? Because we gotta give them some love. Hollywood Vampires.
Hollywood Vampires Salon in Greenville, South Carolina.
I found them
They're
on
so
Facebook.
cool,
I will
too.
share that on Facebook, gang.
They
but-
have more cat pics on their social media and website than they do, you know, like people getting a good haircut. You know what I
Aw,
mean? Yeah,
that's
they're
awesome.
constant. I love them. So my point is, though, as a pet parent, and now Tommy is a new fur dad.
I don't know
You know,
about that. I got a
selling-
dog. I have
Yeah.
a dog. I have a dog.
Yeah, you're a fur dad. So
No.
selling or having people even, you know, come into your home if you're selling your home, or as a buyer even, you know, there's a lot of things to consider. Let's talk about some of those things and why people should seek out a realtor who is compassionate to animals.
Well, you know, clearly there's a ton of reasons why you would pick specific people to help you find a home and also to sell your house. But one of the things that I found really interesting is, and you know, when I thought about it, I was like, well, this completely makes sense. Is, you know, how people would address pets that they have, and you know, dogs, cats, guinea pigs, hamsters, mice, you know, all kinds of pets are in people's homes. And I came up with this, a little, what is it called when you have the first letter of the
Acronym.
acronym? That's it, acronym. OPP, other people's pets, because, you know, you're in the home and you're trying to, you know, make sure that the home looks presentable and all personal items are, you know, stowed away, and, you know, you don't want anything that's valuable around. But, you know, what happens to the pets when all this is going on? And, you know, it's not as easy as just saying, all right, you know, do you have a room? And, you know, because like, what is the pet's temperament? You know, are they used to strangers being in their home? And, you know, are they used to being crated, if that's even an option? You know, so you really do need to think about how that will all play out amongst having an open house if you're showing your home.
Yeah.
So, you know, I do ask a lot of questions around temperament, you know, how these animals are. Also, you know, shedding animals, you know, guinea pigs shed a lot. And some people have a lot of allergies. And they don't necessarily need to be holding the pet for them to, you know, suffer from it.
Triggered. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, if someone has a shedding pet, and, you know, a known thing, then, we might need to, and there's no shame in my game. I have vacuumed people's homes, mopped floors and all that, just to make sure, because you don't want something like that to stop them from buying a home,
You want to be like, it's got to be like absolutely perfect, right? Like,
Of
what is it?
course.
Like it's the job interview look. Like, what
Yeah.
am I? I'm coming to you. Like, I'll tell you a funny, quick anecdote story. One time, I was like, sort of looking for a different job. This is about 10 years ago, right? And the recruiter was like, they really want to meet with you, right? And they really want to meet with you tomorrow morning in New York City. So whatever, at the time I was wearing different colored dress shirts. I wasn't only wearing white dress shirts, which is like what I do now because I don't think, because every tie matches a white dress shirt. So this is like a Zuckerberg
Yeah, it really is.
Jobs move, it's just like
Yeah.
teaching. So I'm dropping some knowledge. So I show up at his interview, and I had like a maroon dress shirt on with a tie, and I was buttoned up. But the guy who was interviewing me was like, it was not going to be a good fit. We weren't digging each other. It was not going anywhere. But so now we're just two guys talking at that point,
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, he goes, and the maroon dress shirt, like for an interview. And right. So I'm like, I saw your face, Dannie Taylor. So I was like, yeah. I was like, so let me ask you, let's call him Johnny. I don't know what his name was. Let's call him Johnny. So Johnny, I hear you. All right. And I didn't have a white dress shirt, or I said to him, no, what I said was, since this is not going anywhere, right? Let's just be real. I said, what do you think would be the only reason I'd show up with a maroon dress shirt today? He goes,
So that you remember. So
you
you
didn't, no,
remember.
not even, no, because you didn't have a
You
clean
want the job.
you didn't have a clean white one. And I go, that's the only reason I would show up with a maroon dress shirt. Because I didn't.
Guess,
So
I guessed wrong, but yeah, no.
you got to be best presented, right? Like if you think, and that's the thing when we learn about this and teach our kids this and teach our business
Yeah.
is interview day is the best you're ever going to look in that company, right? You got to be your best. So if you're trying to sell a home, whether it be at ask, over ask, whatever it is, this home better look like interview day, Danny, right?
Yeah, yeah. And things like also, let's say I've been in a home with one of my buyers where I hear this screeching sound, and it was a cat that was just beside itself. And you couldn't go in the room, which was fine, but it was really, really distracting. And of course, you also have a preconceived notion of what these people, why are they putting their cat in a room? And the cat is just clearly not happy. I couldn't even focus on the house. I felt so bad. I didn't know what to do. And of course, it's very uncomfortable. You don't want to ask any questions. And so like that was a no-go. And I added that to my list. How, is it okay to put the pet in a room, and how will they react? I mean, like, and if you don't know, let's test it out.
Yeah, and let me just jump in because this is so important to me. So when you're buying a home as an animal lover, okay, if I sense that an animal is distraught, I'm going to become distraught.
Right.
And therefore, the emotional factor of buying a home is you're already starting off on a negative. You know what I'm saying? Like, quite honestly, if somebody's dog was crated and they were crying, all I'd want to do is comfort the dog.
Exactly.
And the other thing, honestly, is if I couldn't get into a specific room, I would kind of be like, I need to see the whole house. You know what I mean? But on the flip side, I will tell you, this happened to us with cleaning people, because it's another profession. They come into your home and you have to worry about your pets and everything. And I mean, I'm usually the most forgiving person. Like, I'll give people multiple chances and all of that. Not when it comes to my pets though. So I warn these cleaning people about, please, whatever you do, don't leave like the garbage bag on the floor or paper towels that have cleaner, on them and everything. And we forgot something one day. I came home to get it, and my dog was inside of a huge hefty garbage bag eating soiled paper towels with chemicals on it.
No, Val, didn't you do like Donald Trump? You were like, you're fired. You're fired.
I had to actually like take a deep breath and restrain myself from blowing up. But I just basically said, just leave. Like, just for your own sake, leave.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I was flipping. And then, but see, this is the thing. Whenever people come in and out of your home, you can communicate to them as much as possible, but you have to have someone who really gets it. And that's the key. That's the key. You can't just have people yes you to death. So the fact that Danny's proactive about this stuff and asking questions is huge.
Also, it has to be a priority. So it can't just be like one of those things that you ask the questions and you check the box. Okay, I
Right.
asked. It goes on the to-do list. So when let's say you're showing the home, let's say you're outside and people are roaming around the premises of the property, you need to make sure those gates are closed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because
Oh my God.
What happens when a homeowner comes home, wherever, let's say they left with their animals, or let's say the animals was in, a safe place that they felt comfortable in, but then they'll let them outside. But the gates are open.
Yep.
That's horrible, I mean, for anyone.
And that's
It's
one of, according to Long Island, our friends over at Long Island Dog Search and Rescue, they're a 501. Shout out to Teddy Hen and Lynn Fidali. That is one of the most common reasons as to why people's pets go missing, whether it's the landscapers that forget to close the gate, or, sometimes even the homeowner themselves forget to close the gate.
Yep.
And then the next thing you know, your dog is missing. Can you imagine while you're trying to sell your house, if your dog went missing? I would have a heart attack.
So let me pause everybody for a second, because I think what I want everybody listening to understand is really what this journey that Valerie and I are on is all about. This is a business professional, Dannie Taylor, who is a real estate professional, who is so forward thinking when she comes in to see a homeowner to potentially get a listing, or she has the listing and she's showing the home now. She is thinking about your animals. So that speaks so many volumes to the seller.
Yeah.
What does that look like to the buyer who may be a pet owner and connects with Dannie and sees that TLC, that tender loving care that she is focused on for these animals? Isn't that the type of real estate professional you want to be doing business with? Because if you care about animals, you want to be working with someone who cares about animals. And Dannie, like to your point, you just said it, it's not like, oh, okay, you have an animal, check the box. Okay, do they eat? Check the box. No, you're like straight up, like you are all about the care for their animal. And I will now, to put it on the other side, that also puts you and the seller in a position, if you were representing the seller in this scenario I've just made up, that they are looking the best. It's interview day, baby. They're ready to, they don't have the maroon shirt on and they don't have the dog hair in the kitchen, right? And I love the fact that you'll take out like the shark vac and get in there. Shark is an animal. But you'll get in it because that's it, because everybody wins, especially the animals. No, but everybody wins when you do that, because you're putting your client's best foot forward. So I want you all to remember that. Dannie Taylor, we don't go to breaks on the show anymore, but why don't we break right here and you tell them how they can get in touch with you?
Well, you can contact me at signaturepremiere.com and look up Danielle Taylor, and I would love to be able to do business with you. I buy or sell your home on the buyer side or seller side. Also, a portion of the proceeds go to the YOLO Strong Foundation to help medically fragile, terminally ill, and special needs children.
I love it. I love it. Yo, in a world when there are so many realtors that you can choose from, why not choose the one whose focus best aligns with what you're all about? I mean, this is like, Val, this is like fundamental stuff like we're doing here. Like this is the basics, right? Come on.
I mean, we're talking about a collection of people who go the extra mile on so many levels. And also, I want to mention this because, our friend Jenny Nielsen over at Contour Mortgage.
Shout out, Jenny.
I want to say this. There are a lot of realtors who don't want to work with renters. I'm not sure why, maybe because the commission is lower, or maybe there's just not that much out on the market right now. I don't know why, but anyway, our friend who's a pet parent was having a hard time finding a place in her price range that would accept her cat. And I texted Danielle. I said, Dannie, are you interested in this at all? And she was like, oh my God, of course, absolutely. I'd love to help her. And I love that, because I really believe, just like our buddies Mike D'Onofrio over Premier Payroll, every client matters. Like every client, every single one. And Jenny's so happy with you, Dan, and that she's written these testimonials for you, but because you made a world of difference in her life. So
I'm glad I can help.
That's
Yeah.
called a deposit into a relationship, right? Like it ain't about, hey man, I'm worried about the deposit into my bank account. No, it's
Right,
I'm worried about the deposit into this relationship. Because
right.
at the end of the day, let's be honest, when people hook us up, we always want to find ways to hook them up back. You know,
Of
that might
course.
be the reason why you do these things.
No.
But as human beings, it is something, it is that is the way we respond when that stuff happens.
And so, of course, I just have to mention because it's true and it's awesome. It's pawsome. Um, you know, Danny met Jenny at one of our functions, the
Yes.
Compassion Awards. And the Compassion Awards is filled
What
with
is the
people who-
Compassion Awards? Why don't you tell people what that is who might not know what you're talking about?
Okay, so the Compassion Awards is an awards event where we pick out a small amount of very deserving honorees and we recognize them for the great things that they do for the animals. So Contour Mortgage was one of our sponsors, and Danny and Jenny met and, kept in touch. And so eventually, that worked out because Danny was able to help her and Jenny was very happy with her. And so boom, now we have like these great animal lovers making a connection. But I just want to mention another really great success story from our pet working. Same event, actually. There was a matrimonial lawyer there who met Danny. And now here's the big deal, right? They took it to the next step. They held a meeting. They got together. I think you went to his office, right?
We
So
went for coffee.
Coffee. Okay. So I'm not mentioning any names because I don't know if I should, but the point is that, she nourished the relationship.
Yep.
And they had a great conversation. He learned more about her. She learned more about him. And fast forward a few months, he referred her a nice $1 million plus listing.
That
So
sounds like networking to me. Like that sounds like something called networking.
it's pet working.
Networking. That's
We're all pet lovers.
Yes.
but that's what it is. And maybe we'll run a clinic for you for the next 30 seconds, everybody. But that's what it's about. Like, even if you're at an event, whether it be the Compassion Awards, the upcoming Long Island Imagine Awards, or just it's at a lunch when there's 5 people there and you exchange business cards, that's just the beginning.
Yep.
It's just
Right.
you must have that one-on-one. It doesn't have to be at a coffee meeting, although I love coffee, but it could be over Zoom. It could be a really efficient 22-minute Zoom meeting where you get to know each other, you get to know what each other is looking for, and you continue to nurture that relationship. I will tell you this, years ago, and just because I am the nonprofit sector connector, I feel like I must educate sometimes. Years ago, I used to try and condense an entire 30-year relationship into like a 55 to 60-minute meeting. I learned that that is not actually a possibility, even though I used to try. So my point is this, it's a 30-year relationship broken down into 30-minute segments. And think of that. Think of you're just constantly, you keep in touch with each other. Out of sight is out of mind. We heard of that. Yeah, it is. Stay in touch with people, but have valuable reasons to stay in touch with people, not just like, hey, checking in. No, you're not. You're trying to know too. I have a referral for you. No, but do things
I
like, hey,
hate that term. Just checking in.
just checking in if you're ready to buy my stuff yet, or give me a referral. No, you're not. Here's what you're doing. Shout out to our friend Adrian Miller, who I know for many, many years and taught me this probably about 12 or 15 years ago, the 3 I's: information, introductions, and invitations, right? You see something that's relevant to the Long Island real estate community, you send it over to your friend Dannie Taylor, right? You see an event that would be relevant. Oh, somebody likes an art show. I should bring them to this art show with me. That would be an invitation. And the introduction, the top. I mean, this is it. This is the golden chalice, the whole thing, right? Taking 2 people, and Val's got this really cool way of doing it lately, but taking 2 folks that you think can help each other. And I always say this, 2 + 2, yes, it is 4. But not in networking math. It's some other exponential ripple effect number. It's all about bringing folks together so that everybody is better off. So I think it's important to get that stuff out.
You know what I did? Oh my God, I have to just say this because this was one of my first variations of this, but I asked Danielle for a picture of her with one of her dogs. And so she sends me this adorable picture. She's like lying on the grass. She's cuddling with the dog. And then I sent the person I'm referring. Yep. I asked him to do the same. some people just send me a picture of their own pet, which is fine, but I'm calling these a pictroduction. Some people love it, some people hate it. I don't really care. The message, the message gets across. They're like, oh my God, look at their love for their dog, their cat, whatever, and it's
Instant, right?
adorable.
Instant rapport. We got something in common. But isn't that the whole thing about, I mean, it goes back, I know there's history to this, and it was an event, it was an elephant networking event. Shout out to elephant networking and the legacy, because everything that was in the past has brought us to where we are now. But it was a name tag that said, I like dogs and I like surfing, right? And that's sort of what came, where a lot of this conversation of what P.A.L's is came from that,
Yeah.
because it was instant rapport. We have something in common. So now you got a dog, I got a dog. I got a dog, actually. His name's Cheeto, if you haven't heard. But I think that's what it is. It's that sort of, we already have rapport, right? Isn't that what we're trying to do? How quick can we get to something where we seem like we're in lockstep somewhere? And
I
that,
know this, and in the times that I've either apartment hunted or house hunted or sold property, never, not once, has a realtor said to me, this is why you should hire me. I am going to make sure that your pets are safe. Nobody's going to get out. I'm going to make sure that everything presents the best possible. I will come here half an hour to clean. And if I have to scoop litter, I'll scoop litter. Like, I mean, I had this happen too once where another cleaning service, unfortunately, but we have a baby gate that separates the cat wing from the rest of the house for the dog. And once again, I communicate very well. And I say, you have to make sure this gate is constantly closed. Like, even if you're leaving the gate for 30 seconds, you've got to close it behind you. Because if my dog gets into the cat wing, it's pretty gross. He'll eat their cat litter.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah.
Besides chasing them all over the place and torturing them, he'll eat the litter. It's gross, but it's also very unhealthy. So what happens? I come home, gate is wide open. And I'm like, I have to fire you too. But Danny would never do that because Danny cares.
yeah.
I actually had a situation once, Val, where I was going for a listing appointment, and the owner was an absentee owner, but there had been a bunch of stray cats that were being fed by the neighbors. And in that moment, I thought, well, what's going to happen regardless of whether I get this listing or not? How are these animals going to be helped? So I actually did some research and found a sanctuary and was able to share that information with the homeowner and say, hey, regardless of whichever way you go, here's some information for a sanctuary for these pets that clearly you intend on going someplace else. And I don't know how that's going to work out for them.
Yeah.
So, it's the little things like that. And I think when we all do things, like that, people get a really good insight as to who you are as a person,
If anyone even needs another example, I will just say this. I think it was Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. I'm not sure which one. Whatever day that I had no hot water.
It was Christmas Eve.
So on Christmas Eve, I get a text, and here she is. She's got a picture of a feral cat who is clearly wounded, had a prolapsed anus. Sorry, it is what it is, but visibly not in good condition. And she's like, what should I do? Whatever. So long story short, she was able to get the town of Hempstead to go to the property, trap the cat, give it the medical attention that it needed, and then return to the property. I mean, this is on Christmas. She has children and a family and all of this Christmas stuff to do, and so you can really separate, the people who are sincere and love animals and care about what happens to them versus not.
I think more along that is, just when people are really stressed out about, how to handle situations, to know that they have people that are willing to try to help, to try to help is the most important thing. So yeah, we were able to, do what we could. I think that that person eventually was able to help the pet, the cat. And but what, we were there. I was calling you, you were calling me, and all was well. All is well in the real estate world.
It's phenomenal. No, it's phenomenal also of how much of a resource that you are to people, regardless of whether or not they choose you. You know, that's what it's all about.
Isn't that though, like, that's how you build a career, DT, Danny Taylor. That's how you build it, because it's like you become known for this level of work and the level of follow-up and the level of I will go the extra mile. Not
Yep.
because I'm like had some kind of sales training that says I will go the extra mile. No, because I'm freaking on Christmas Eve, I'm worried about a cat, or because I know the seller is moving out and he was taking care of those cats. Like, that's the thing. That's when you get a reputation, and dare I say, yes, I will, Tommy D. Dare I say a brand, where you become a brand, and that Danny Taylor is known for her consummate professionalism as a realtor plus, right? Plus, she'll go the extra mile when it comes to making sure your house is perfect and that cat hair is out of there. I mean, damn, I'm telling you, man, if I went into a house and I fell in love with the house and I started freaking sneezing and I got to ask somebody for Benadryl, I'd be like losing it, because like when I got to I got to scratch the back of my head, I start sneezing, I got to do that noise with your throat,
Yes.
like that.
I'm
Like,
I'm actually really, really, really allergic to cats.
you are.
Really, and I have, like Val was saying before, I've actually cleaned out litter boxes. Just
That's
because I
gangster.
was just
You
like,
are gangster, because you don't eat. You're like, I'll sneeze, but you're gonna sell your freaking house. It's all that. I got the Benadryl in the car. It's all good. But that's the thing about it, is like, all kidding. Like, here's the deal. It's like going the extra mile, going further for your clients. Danny Taylor, we've had one-off conversations and stuff about, growing your business and things. But my point is, as you continue to develop your personal brand in this space, it's just going to be like a no-brainer. Oh, you got to call Danny. Why do you got to call Danny? Well, because that's what she does. She actually specializes. We all want to talk about, our unique value proposition, and this is what you do. You change the game. So thank you. Thank you. I know you're going to say, well, thank you, but no, thank you, because you're changing the game. We appreciate it.
thank you. That's very
Leveling
kind.
up. I'm going to ask you a question which I feel like I kind of know the answer to, but that's okay. Because I just want to put it out there for everyone else. But in this world of professionals and connections and networking, pet working, Tommy and I always like to ask people, who are you looking to connect with? Is there a specific profession? Is there a specific association or anything like that? Let's say some of your friends who are hopefully listening to this, they'll say, oh, you know what? I think Danny should meet this person. I would like for her to meet that person. Who can we connect you with, Dan?
So on two fronts, the first front is for the foundation. We could really use someone who is a grant writer and assist us in grant writing.
Grant writing.
Yeah. We could really use help. We're at the point right now where it's not enough for us to apply for some of these grants and for these awards. And then I think on the professional level, I really am working around people that are struggling in their lives with I'll just say it, spouses. They are having a difficult time. There's so much to think about. If people decide that, it's not working for them. And like, honestly, I just feel like I feel like I'm really helping out in that area. So, if there's anyone that, needs someone to help out, if they know of people that are separating or getting divorced, and it's a trusted set of hands. I've met a lot of wonderful people, and in a horrible, horrible, horrible time. I think that that part hasn't been difficult. I've made it easier for them. So yeah, I'm happy to help.
That's always like one of the big concerns. I mean, obviously things like custody and also pet custody. But a lot of times it's like, where am I going to live? How am I going to do this? How is someone going to stay in the home, or or do they have to sell it, or do they just want a totally clean slate?
Yep.
It's a super emotional time,
It's a
and
very personal decision. Also, you have two people who have know a lot of the same people, right? So
yeah,
confidentiality and professionalism is, so important. And our fiduciary responsibility as realtors is to our clients. So
right.
it is really, really important that you find somebody that is going to look out for your best interest and make sure that your stuff remains between you and them. So
100%. I mean, it's absolutely scary to think about confiding in someone and then it getting back to the other person and all of that, because it can cause a lot of additional stress. Okay, so then actually, unfortunately, I do think we all probably know a lot of people going through these situations. I wonder if COVID had that effect. I mean, everybody, when COVID first happened, so many people were talking about how divorces and separations were going to go through the roof and spike. I think the one thing most people didn't consider is that the court systems were shut down.
Yeah.
So even, process that stuff. But is it kind of like now that the restrictions have lifted and the courts are open, that more and more of this seems to be coming to the surface?
Yeah, I also think that I think, if there's children involved, when children get to a certain age, you notice like
Yeah.
COVID covered what, like 3 years of kids' lives, right? That a lot can happen
Yeah.
in kids' lives over the course of 3 years, right? So,
Yeah.
you enter COVID and, your child is 9, not that we've left COVID, but you know what I'm saying, during that 3-year period, they're 12. I mean, that's just crazy how much a
That
child,
is crazy.
and then, what they can handle, how, the reality of it. So I think that might also have something to do with it, but it is a very personal decision. And there's a lot to think about. And I honestly, I'm honored that people trust me to work with me while they're going through that, because you do really need to.
That is a huge compliment. Welcome back, Tommy Misa. Don't ever stare at me like that again. I'm thinking in my head, he disappeared, right? And I'm like, I don't know how to end the show.
You do. You just stop. You just stop talking. That's how you end the show. No, look, you know what it is, Valerie? Look, here's the thing. You told me that I push you out of your comfort zone just for us to do this show. Today, I just won't be here anymore, Valerie. I mean, I'll just not be here and you'll just have to figure it out,
No way. No way. Not happening.
I have so much FOMO. I don't want to miss anything in my life. I mean, last week, about a week and a half ago, I literally, my younger son loves to use the word literally, even when it's not relevant, but I don't know if it's going to make sense what I just said, but I was invited to 3 Zoom calls at the same time. And I was on 2 at the same time and flopped off of 1 to get onto the 3rd.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I'm not saying I'm proud of that. I'm just saying that's a little bit of the it's a little bit of the FOMO. It's a little bit of all that stuff. I love the acronyms, by the way, Dannie Taylor. We love wordplay here on the show. So we love
I love acronyms, although I should let you guys know, I actually came up with FOMO before it was a thing, but it didn't mean what it meant. My old sales assistant from back in the day, this great guy named Rob Catalfamo. I'm all about nicknames. So anyway, his name was just too long. So I used to call him, I went from Catalfamo to FOMO, and then to foam. Eventually I just started calling him foam.
It makes
but
sense.
It didn't mean what it means today. I'm just saying.
We have a friend of ours who we haven't seen in a while, but his last name is Palazzo. Okay. There's a character in The Godfather.
Enrique.
Well, no. That's Enrique Palazzo. That's from No. Godfather. Hold on. Stay, buckle in, buckle your seatbelt. Get ready.
Stay with me.
So our friend Palazzo's nickname, this is Nikki Books gave him this nickname, and his name became Serlazzo. Serlazzo is a character in The Godfather because Palazzo sounds like Serlazzo, right? But Serlazzo in The Godfather, those of us who are up on this know, his nickname is the Turk because he's got all these poppy fields where they the heroin and the drugs and whatnot, right? So needless to say, Palazzo became Serlazzo, and his nickname later became the Turk, and then just Turk. So people go like, why is he called that? And it was like 7 steps that happened, or 5 or 4 steps that happened over the years. And it's just like, it just kind of
It
evolved.
evolves. It evolves.
Yeah.
I love giving people nicknames, and I also love naming people's pets. But let me circle back to this professional part of the conversation, because I just thought of something too. On the flip side, Dan, okay, so now we know who we can introduce you to, right?
Yep.
Looking for a great writer.
Referrals.
Grant writer assistant, right? And now, so if I'm somebody who, let's say, wants to earn your business, Dannie Taylor, which is very common in the competitive world of real estate professionals.
Yep.
The realtor is the point of origin for a lot of business. They refer, inspectors, lawyers,
Loan officers.
people, right?
Yep.
All things home, painters,
Title.
HVAC, whatever. What would you say? What's going to win your heart and to get the business?
Well, something very basic for start from the foremost is that they actually get back to me. Response, because so many people just don't get back to you and they're not very responsive. Yeah, like even with the smallest of questions. So I actually have a resource list of people that I like. And sometimes it's really easy and they don't get back to me, or they wait a long time to get back to me. Of course, they have to be philanthropic. So if they get what I'm doing, and the whole reason why I decided to work with Signature is because they're philanthropic. Like Contour and Signature are partners. They are partners. They work together, and Signature gives back to a plethora of charities, large and small, and that just warmed my heart. So like it was an easy choice for me. So if they are giving, and it doesn't have to be to the same as YOLO's, charities or causes, that is a big thing for me, to know that they're giving people. And I love the fact, Val, that you get your hair cut by someone who cares about pets. I mean, that
Don't look
speaks
at it
volumes.
right now. Look at it next week. Look at it next week. I'm not doing them any favors.
But it speaks volumes, so that's really important. It says a lot about a person, right?
Yeah.
That who they care about, where their priorities are. Any person that's even going to be part of the YOLO real estate team, the fact that they're donating a portion of their sales proceeds that speaks volumes, to anyone who wants to hire anyone on our team, that they're willing to do that. It's
100%.
pretty much unheard of. And there are people actually that have come into contact with colleagues, in other organizations, other companies working for other brokers, that have actually donated to YOLO because they heard about what we're doing. And I thought that was really cool.
Yep.
So those brokers are like high on my list of people I'd love to work with. Right. So I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. And I love that you look for that too, because at the end of the day, what we're talking about is compassion for others, compassion for other children, compassion for other families, pets, pet parents. I mean, it's really important. So I had one other thing. Actually, holy moly, we got 5 minutes left. I just wanted to mention a quick thing, which is that a good friend of the show, JP Goodwin of Humane Society US, in charge of the End Puppy Mill campaign, he just lost his beloved dog Odie of 18 years. So rest in peace, Odie. And John, you have our deepest sympathies. I know, I can't even talk about it.
I can't.
Upcoming events on a lighter note. Hold on. Yay. Upcoming events. I want to let you guys know we have a virtual pet working Zoom call on 4/19. I'm going to post the link to the P.A.L's page. It's an Eventbrite registration, and you should definitely be there, because you're going to meet all of these different people, all different walks of life, and you never know where it's going to lead. And then the other thing I want to mention is that we have heavy hitter, amazing champion for the animals, Assemblywoman, New York State Assemblywoman Linda Rosenthal is coming on the show. She is a hero in this world. She's passed so many great laws, including authoring the puppy mill bill that just passed last year in New York, the declawing, the anti-declawing bill for cats. She's got dozens of bills proposed in this legislative session. We want to help her get some of those passed, and she'll be on the show 4/14 at 4 p.m.
Okay.
414 at 4.
Woo!
Wow, we like numbers, we like letters here. We like all that on the show.
And
Numbers.
acronyms. Danny, leave us with a final message, and then Tommy's going to take us home.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And I would be honored if you shared my details with anyone that you know is looking to buy or sell their home. I'm never too busy for a referral. And it's the greatest form of a compliment. Oh, one more thing. Tommy, you and I still need to have our tricycle race.
Funny. It's funny.
So,
I'm glad you brought it up.
I'm not forgetting about this.
No. It's funny.
I'm not either.
I ran into my friend Shannon Boyle at an event just last week. Shannon is the executive director of New Ground, which is an organization that's breaking the cycle of homelessness amongst the veteran community here on Long Island.
Oh, wow.
So I won the tricycle from her organization, and I've yet to hook up with a person to pick it up. So I gotta, Shannon, if you're listening, I'll text you later anyway. But I gotta get.
Do you actually have your tricycle?
No. I won it. I called you one Friday morning because I had won it on a virtual event. So I just don't have it in my possession. You might not remember, because when I go pick it up, I'm going to make a whole video and make a big deal about this and like challenge you to a duel. Like, where you just like.
That means I need to go get mine. This is important news. I didn't know this.
I have one now.
I'd like to propose a date for this race, which is sometime in June when I'll be in town.
Yeah, of course. Selfish. Hashtag selfish. Hashtag FOMO. Hashtag FOMO. We can do it in June. I'll probably be in the best shape of the year in June, because that's like when I really get.
Let's do it then. No excuses.
Look
Come
out
on, Tommy.
Look out for that race. I worry that I'm going to get knocked off the thing, because I heard you're super aggressive. And I heard, you know how to drive a tricycle. We are talking about adult tricycles, gang. What is that about? I've always wanted one, and I actually won one. I just haven't picked it up yet. So we'll talk about that, Dannie Taylor.
All right.
How do they get in touch with you real quick before we go away? Just give us how do they call you? How do they email you? How do you?
Yeah, my email address is dmtaylor@signaturepremier.com. My phone number is 516-698-2136.
She will return your email. She will. That's what she does. Like the fundamentals, the basics, what your parents taught you. Valerie, anything else you want to say before I bring us out of here?
She will keep your pets safe.
That's right. I got to go. This dog, my guy Cheeto is howling down there. He's like, dude,
hurry
up. All right,
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will leave you.
Love you both.
I will leave you. Oh, one quick thing. Lorraine Quigley Brand is on. She says, hey, Danny.
Yay, Lorraine.
Bernard is on the Facebook. Hey, Lorraine. And let me leave you all with this. The greatness of a nation and its moral progress can be judged by the way its animals are treated. Make it a great day.
Hey, Gandhi. I can't do the high five.